Now, my dear pupils, welcome for our social studies lesson today, whereby we are still going on talking about the climatic regions of Africa. And today we would like to look at the desert climate. We shall also look at the temperate climate. And lastly, we are also going to discuss today about the warm temperate eastern margin climate. But before I just do that, I feel it is wise to start by reminding you what you are supposed to do in order to assist in curbing the spread of this deadly virus that is corona. That kindly remain at home. But if you are forced by circumstances to leave your home, then always put on your mask. Maintain social distance, avoid shaking people's hands, and above all, wash your hands thoroughly and regularly using water and soap. If you have sanitizers, the better. Now, having said that, now allow me to go to the topic of the day. And I've said today we are going to discuss about the desert climate. Now, my dear pupils, I want us to look at the exact location of desert climate. And here to the northern part of Africa, we have this desert climate. This whole part, this is the desert climate, and this is Sahara Desert. I remember when we were talking about the winds that they blow across Africa. We talked about a certain wind called Harmattan winds that are responsible of causing Sahara Desert. So my dear pupils know that Sahara Desert is found to the north of Africa, this side. Sahara Desert, and this is a desert climate. We also have another desert here. This is a Namib Desert. This is along the coast of Namibia. We have Namib Desert here. This is also a desert climate. We also have another desert climate. We have this desert known as Kalahari Desert found in Botswana. Kalahari Desert in Botswana. So this is also a desert climate. So these are desert climates of Africa. Now, the desert climate is hot and dry throughout the year. And during the day, the temperatures can rise as high as 50 degrees Celsius. But at night, the temperatures tend to fall, and it can fall even below 4 degrees Celsius. The amount of rainfall received in the desert climate is less than 250 millimeters. So my dear pupils, if you see maybe a question asking and maybe the amount of rainfall given there in annually, that is in a year, is less than 250, then automatically you know that that is a desert. Now, the area has cloudless sky, and the climate is experienced in places in Sahara Desert, in Kalahari Desert, and also in Namib Desert. My dear pupils, allow me to talk about desert and semi-desert vegetation. Now, when you talk about desert, it's the same as saying arid area. And semi-desert is the same as saying semi-arid area. Now, the vegetation here in desert and semi-desert vegetation comprise of the vegetation is very little, and there is a poor vegetation due to little and unreliable rainfall. The vegetation is drought resistant. It's drought resistant because vegetation adapts to the environment. The place is virtually dry. The common vegetation is coarse grass and tufted plants like cacti. The plants are deep-rooted in order to reach the water table. The plants have small leaves to help them cut the loss of water through a process known as transpiration. The desert vegetation are found in Sahara Desert in the north of Africa, Kalahari Desert in South Africa, and Namib Desert in Southern Africa. We also have in Kenya here, we have Chalib Desert. Chalib Desert is found at the east of Lake Turkana, and we have Taru Desert that is found between Mombasa and Voi. In Sahara Desert, planted vegetations are found around the oases. Oases, this is water points in the desert. The main crops that are grown around the oases, that is in the desert and semi-desert areas, comprise of citrus fruits. We have dates, we have palm, we have olive, we have cereals, watermelons, and we have nuts. My dear pupils, now allow me to talk about temperate climate. My dear pupils, we also have another climatic region of Africa, and this is a temperate climate, which is also known as a high veld climate. It is located here, this part. It's where we have a temperate climate. Climate, that's the position of temperate climate. And remember, we have said temperate climate is also known as a high veld, and it's found in South Africa. Temperate climate, which is also known as a high veld climate. This climate is found in a high veld region of South Africa, and the area has high altitude. When we talk about high altitude, then we mean the place receives experiences low temperatures. The place is cool, because we say the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. So the area experiences high altitude, and therefore the temperatures are fairly low. The temperatures range from 10 degrees Celsius to around 18 degrees Celsius there. So that is about the temperate climate. Now, my dear pupils, now allow me to talk about another very important climatic region of Africa, and this is a warm, temperate, eastern margin climate. Warm, temperate, eastern margin climate. This is the position of this particular climatic region. It is also found in South Africa, and it is indicated by the reddish dots, circular dots like that. So that is the position of warm, temperate, eastern margin climate. Now the area has cold winters and hot summers. This means that annual temperature is fairly high at about 20 degrees Celsius. The area gets rainfall both in summer and during winter. When we talk about summer, this is a period of time when it is a bit hot. So that's why we are saying that in warm temperate eastern margin climate, rainfall is both experienced in summer and winter. Winter is during very cold seasons. Now, most rains come in summer. Most rains come in summer, that is in warm temperate eastern margin climate. My dear pupils, now allow me to talk about mountainous climate, or mountain climate. Now, mountain climate is also called alpine climate. Alpine climate. It is experienced on high mountain areas, high mountain areas. The areas experience low temperatures that may fall to 0 degrees. at the peak of the mountains, and especially mountains that are so high that have snow on top of such a mountains. The temperatures can fall as low as 0 degrees Celsius. This is a freezing point. The temperature decrease with increase in altitude. When as much as you are going high, the temperatures are reduced. And that's why we say the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. The area experiences heavy rainfall. The type of rainfall experienced on mountain climate is a type of rainfall known as relief rainfall or orographic rainfall. The type of climate is experienced on mountains like Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Kenya, and Mount Rwenzori. These are mountains that are very high. Even Mount Cameroon, mountains that are so high and they do have snow on top. Now, my dear pupils, allow me to talk about the mountain climate. Mountain forest or mountainous forest, also known as alpine vegetation. Now, these vegetations are influenced by altitude. You find that we have different rims of this vegetation. And this vegetation are shown on the map, this map that we are pointing here, and the vegetations are as follows. My dear pupils, this is mountainous vegetation, which is also known as alpine vegetation. Now, this vegetation normally is experienced on mountains, especially high mountains. On top of the mountain here, we have snow and bare rocks, snow and bare rocks. Then after the snow and bare rocks, we have heath and moorland after the snow. And remember, up here where we have snow, the place is extremely cold, such that no vegetation can survive here. Then afterwards we have now heath and moorland. Then after heath and moorland we have a bamboo forest. After bamboo forest we have a rain forest. Then lastly we have a savanna vegetation. Now we have a formula for getting this arrangement of this vegetation from the top to the bottom, and the formula is Baba, Helen, and Moses by Rice severally. Baba means bare rocks, standing for bare rocks. Bare rocks, that's and snow. Then Helen and Moses stands for heath and moorland. Then Bai stands for bamboo. Then Rice stands for rainforest. Then severally stands for savanna vegetation. My dear pupils, we have reached the end of the lesson, and I would like to thank you for having been with me from the beginning to the end of this lesson. I would like to still urge you that this one is a video, and you can replay it as many times as you can, so as to get acquainted with the information about the climatic region of Africa. We have tackled all climates found in Africa and the vegetations associated to this climatic region. Please replay this video as many times as you can, so as to get acquainted to the information about the climate and vegetations of Africa. I want to wish you well. Stay safe at home. Goodbye.